for the Eagle Grove Community School District in Eagle Grove, Iowa. Thanks for joining us tonight.
And I am Mitch Dahauer, Technology Director, Spencer Community School District here in Iowa.
Hey everybody, Phil Trimble, Pocahontas Area Community School District, Technology Director.
Tonight, Chad said he's going to be a little bit late, but he'll join in. Carl, he totally forgot about us. So where all of you rate on Carl's things in life is evidently slightly below everything else. But we also have a special guest tonight. Cody Rice is joining us from GoGuardian. Anytime you want to chime in, Cody, feel free to go ahead. It's open forum here. But he'll be talking later on about additions and new stuff to GoGuardian. So we're glad to have Cody here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lance.
All right, so our normal format is we'll go through and we'll start with what's new. But the first thing I do want to go is we do have sponsors for our podcast. The first sponsor I do want to say thank you to is GoGuardian. GoGuardian keeps students safe when they're online. It helps teachers engage with their students and provides schools with better control over how their technology is used. With GoGuardian, educators can harness the power of the internet for learning without harmful content or distractions getting in the way. Check them out at www.goguardian.com. And they are they sponsored our mobile podcasting kit. Not in use tonight, but it's a great kit to have for when we're on the road. So what's new? Phil, what do you got for us tonight?
Start off with me. There we go. Hey, so I don't know how new this is, but I found this going through some G Suite YouTube videos. It's called Google Data Studio. It's more business oriented. You can get there by going to, let's see, let me open that up. Well, that's not the right one. I think it is datastudio.google.com. What it does is it basically takes your spreadsheets and there's a whole bunch of templates in there and it turns it into visualization. So if you got a big board meeting coming up and you want to all of your school board members, then you can turn this into bars and charts. Maps are on there. There's a whole bunch of cool different little templates that you can play with and manipulate to get this for a presentation. So that's what I got.
So if you were to say this is similar to something, what would you say this is similar to?
I would say it closely represents Awesome Tables. I don't believe that you can do a lot of the same manipulation as you can with Awesome Tables, whereas in Awesome Tables you can search for a number. I don't believe it's that type of usage. It's more of a visualization type program. So, but I would say it's closely represents or closely the Awesome Tables.
Phil, you look like you've been like digging in a well today.
I'm so tired right now. I'm saying the same thing over and over again.
Phil had a little issue with his water well this afternoon at his house.
I barely made it here. We've been having some major farm issues with our well water. Yeah, let's just say that. And my lights are just
Iowa
dimming
life.
as my well's trying to kick on right now.
I bet Cody doesn't have a lot of issue with well water.
I actually grew up in Texas, and we actually did have a well. Although our issues weren't the well water, it was the calcification from the hard water on everything else. Yeah, so I've been there. Mitch, don't throw me too far under the bus.
Hey, you're the one that stole my seat at ISTE, so I'm never gonna let you live that down.
I think that's fair.
In the show notes, I had titled this show May Day. It's kind of our May show. Traditionally, May 1st, of course, is May Day. And if you deliver your little goodie baskets to your neighbor kids, as long as you have kids, it's probably okay. But the reason I called it May Day is I don't know if anybody out there fell victim to or had users fall victim to I would call it a phishing scam. Others may say it was a worm of sorts, but the email that came out that said, I've shared this document with you, click here. Did any of us have users that might have fallen for that?
I think everybody did. That was a pretty good one, that was pretty clever the way they did that. And I think Google had to go back and re-engineer some things to keep metrics on the way things grow, right? Because that one went really fast. We were really fortunate at our district that I was at my desk, which doesn't happen all that often. Actually out and about quite a bit, but I happened to be at my desk and saw it right away, and put email content compliance filters in to check the headers right away, and started dropping them all. So we only had 2 users affected, but that was within a span of like 2 minutes. It happened that fast. So I know that there was other places that were complaining that they didn't get it shut down like all day. So I think, they just kept spreading it out all day long, and it took Google to its knees.
Yeah, I had more than 2 users fall for it. The funny thing is I had 1 user fall for it. Okay, you ready? 5 times.
Was your email compliance rule not working, or?
I shouldn't say he or she, they fell for it 5 times before I got the compliance in. Matter of fact, they were the one that texted me. I clicked on this. Should I have done that? And I'm like, no, you shouldn't have.
No.
But the deal with it is, and what we have to look at is we teach, and you can preach, and you can go through and tell your staff and tell your students, you should not just authenticate everything, but people have a tendency to do that if they think someone shared something. And once it was inside your district, they were getting it from people in their district, which is what made it kind of even more, made people more vulnerable. But it was the second part where you actually had to, it wasn't like the normal sharing where you just click and it opens. You had to go through and authorize. And we have 2-step authentication turned on for all of our staff, but this didn't use it. I mean, it was not a factor because it was an OAuth application, which let it bypass all forms of authentication because you gave it direct permissions to your stuff. So that's one of those things. You got to be super careful. I know we chatted offline about it. Doing phishing tests of our staff this summer and possibly towards the school year. And if they don't pass it, that they fall for your phishing scams, maybe you have to have a remedial how to use email course. But I don't think
in this instance, that one's tough, and honestly, it could have been a lot worse, right? So they could have been a lot more malicious with their attack than they actually were. At that point of giving authorization, you could have given full rights authorization to a lot more, and they could have destroyed. They could have made copies. It could have been a really big problem. So it's also a heads up and kind of a scare of, hey, this is out there now. This is a way that, it was social engineered, basically. And it was really, really legit looking. And I think somebody could do a better job than that even. It's not that hard to replicate Google's sharing screen. They could have done a better job of that even than they did. So even if you do those things, it's still, we're putting a lot of faith in the Googs in the back end to, watch for those changes, right? They can run computer algorithms to look for, this should not be spreading like it is, right? And shut it down right away. So I'm sure that this was a huge wake-up call in that office, and that it changed a lot of things in the back end. And that's probably some of what's been kind of breaking this week. I'm wondering if they're doing some updates and stuff in relation to that. And that's why we're kind of seeing some service disruptions happen too. So eye-opener, right? I mean, holy cow.
Oh, big time. I completely agree. It was a very big eye-opener. And just, if nothing else, it really did help my staff, because this week I've gotten emails from a couple other people. Hey, I got an email from such and such a bank that wanted me to click on something, but I don't use that bank, so you might want to warn people.
I'm getting a lot of them that are legit, and I'm like, that's all right. If you ask me to take a look at something that's legit, I'm not going to hound you for that by any means. So yeah, you're right. And as time passes, it'll lapse again and something else will come up. It is what it is, and it's been that way forever, and you do what you can to protect yourself from it. And I think the phishing, kind of maybe like a Google, even a Google quiz isn't a bad idea. It's just to send out to your users and kind of check yourself a little bit, and help educate them. Because it's a crazy world out there, and you look at like this WannaCry thing that's going around, that the NSA gladly leaked out to the hackers to allow them to be able to take over people's PCs. Yeah, it's a crazy world, and it's a $1 billion industry. So you're not going to see it slow down by any means.
No, it's definitely not. Yeah, and then just mentioned in the chat, someone, GoGuardian said, they allowed them to name the app Google Docs, and so perhaps Google's there's Chad. Hopefully, Google's is really thinking about what they allow in as an application and how it's named, and doing a little more. Probably not as strict as Apple, but a little more than what they currently allow.
Yeah, I'm sure it changed a lot of the processes in the back end.
How's it going, Chad?
Chad is broken. That's okay. Chad will get it figured out.
I can't tell. Is that a picture of Chad or?
I think that is Chad.
He's so still.
Stoic. That's all right. He's not.
He's here.
Right. He's the silent man. So, anything else that was new?
Just a reminder that the Google Talk stuff is transitioning out. They're also, with that, they're changing the way that chat works in the other services. So, slides and docs and all, spreadsheets. The chat in that is switching to Hangouts as well, which is good, as that will go into Volt. So a lot of interesting things happening there. Cody has even more interesting ways to track those things, and I'm sure you'll talk about that in a little bit. Dude, I'm super pumped to get to that part. But Google's switching that away finally. It's still kind of a weird, like they had invented so many different chat platforms that we've even seen in the back end of other stuff that never really came to life. That I think they kind of had an identity crisis, right? So maybe they're going to land on Hangouts for a while and leave it be. I don't know, but Talk's finally going away, which is good. As far as being able to force things on the record. Yeah.
Do you think is the interface going to be different in chats and sheets with the use of Hangouts versus the chat, or is it going to operate the same, be able to do so inside the dock and not have to open a separate window?
I haven't really looked into it that much. I assume from the releases they released, what was it, yesterday, I think, it'll be the same way. It'll be in the same kind of window. But does it really matter, honestly, if it's outside? I think that's kind of where the hang-up was in the past. It's like, well, if you go to another window that's floating for a Google Hangout chat, does it really matter that it's not right in the document? Can you just switch back and forth? You'd have to click anyways. So to me, personally, I don't care. But change is hard for some, so whatever.
Agreed. That's my only point on that is, yep, some people, and I know I will have some teachers that they didn't like it when I took chat away and forced Hangouts, but they put it into Docs. Now they have to change back and they'll be mad at me again.
Yeah, and they'll have the other they'll still have the other option to launch a Hangout in a separate window. So if they're doing that process now, it'll still work that way, right? It's just that they'll have another feature added, so it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of it's kind of nice to clean that stuff up. It's kind of been hanging out there for a while. They also released a bunch of stuff, Google Sites, the new Google Sites, and some of the long-term planning of that, providing the tools to migrate, maybe some very loose-looking target dates to eliminate the old sites. Still, they're kind of struggling through that themselves because they don't actually have the migration tool. Some things like that are still kind of hanging out there, but they did put some announcements out there on that and talked about it a little bit. They also redid the Google Chrome or Google Android on Chrome page to start to show like more devices that are getting Android on Chrome and what release channels those are on. So that page on Chromium did get updated, so that's encouraging. Maybe we'll see some advancements in that soon too. So just some little things that they released that I've seen.
Chad, you got anything new?
I got nothing.
Hey, we can hear you.
I don't even know if you guys can hear.
Yes.
I'm having some glitches on my end, so I'll work those out. I can hear you guys.
Good.
All righty. And since Carl's gone, he was probably going to do his new GAM tip of the month because that's
what is there a GAM script like to figure out how to add things to your Google Calendar or like keep an eye on a Google Hangout chat? Those are difficult for Carl.
The Hangout chats, he can't get notifications.
Can you turn notifications on?
Notifications.
Can you turn notifications on via GAM?
So
I think
if Jay's listening in, that's a feature request that Carl needs. Enable
Can
notifications.
other people turn notifications on for Carl?
Right.
Sort of tool.
He claims they are on. He's just not getting them.
Is there an API for that?
I think Carl set the date. Didn't Carl set the date?
If he would give my malicious extension permission to do what it wants to do, I could do what I want for Carl. But he has yet to click the blue button.
You just need to make it look a little more legit. That's all. Just call it Google Docs.
All right.
Google Hangouts, Google Notifications.
Google Notifications wants full access to your Google account. Will you allow?
Click this blanking button, Carl.
That's why I'm never absent from this podcast, because that's what we do. We make fun of the absent members. That's all right. Okay, well, I think we're to the point now where we're going to go ahead and introduce Cody. Cody's from GoGuardian, and GoGuardian has some really, I don't like to overuse the word, but just truly some awesome things coming out with their applications. And they asked if they could come on the show, and we were like, absolutely. And so I'm going to turn it over. Cody Rice from GoGuardian.
Woo! Thanks, Lance. Yeah, I appreciate it. So I think the big reason we were going to have this chat today was because we were essentially we've almost kind of reimagined the entire admin product. And so I know, Mitch, you use it. Lance, you use it. Phil, Chad, do you guys use the admin product as well, Phil?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
I have I had a demo you've never turned off, so I don't really use it yet. I have indications of suspicious behavior still. I'm waiting, Cody, for a long time for the timed filter sets. And I've talked to you guys off and on about that. So I don't want to steal any thunder, so I'll shut up.
No, that's actually the thunder. It's coming in about 2 to 3 weeks. So timed filtering is one of the changes. Yeah, it's one of the big long lists. But I think one of the coolest parts is I think something Mitch has played with a little bit.
I wasn't gonna say anything because I didn't know like what I could talk about, so I'm letting you lead this.
Yeah, no, I will lead. So I think so. You guys have used flagged activity, right? In the past, we know we want to give students more access to the internet, right? So you're trying to give as much access as possible and just be aware and kind of prevent them from getting to the parts of the internet that can cause problems. And so you started with a really basic filter, right? Blacklists and whitelists, and being able to block off certain parts of the internet. And now, like, moving forward, as you start to look more and more into the future, it was more, how do we open up more parts, as well as the internet is constantly changing, right? As you guys get to experience on a regular basis when your students are trying to get to go explore on their own. And so the first thing that GoGuardian had was flagged activity. And what it was the ability to flag certain keywords on a page. So as a student was browsing the internet, if there was something inappropriate, it was the ability to flag keywords themselves. The problem was at large schools, as you guys have experienced, right? Those words are everywhere. So the keywords you were trying to flag were on every single page. Google, of course.
Cody, you get a lot of emails.
I get a lot. You guys get a lot of emails, and we ended up having to restrict how many emails you could get a day. And it wasn't helpful, because oftentimes you would either end up getting 1,000 or you would get 10 because we limited it, and then you couldn't really get the ones that you needed. And if you ever we looked through like the top flag sites, and it was like Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit, and you're like, oh, well, go figure. Those are the things that have inappropriate words in them. So instead, What we did is we kind of reimagined the whole thing from start to finish, and the goal was now instead of trying to block off the bad parts of the internet. I'll use one of the analogies of one of my coworkers, Tyler, who's the one who actually built the product. Is he's talking about instead of trying to build walls, now you just kind of get to put like a bodyguard right next to a student as they go through the internet that can kind of help guide them to where they need to be. And so what we started to do is it actually now tries to understand content. So it looks at the content on the page and tries to make a decision about, is this appropriate or inappropriate? And then makes a decision, right? Do you block it? Do you email an administrator? Potentially, and the really cool stuff is not only now can you involve your administrators, but you can actually involve anyone at your district. So you could email a guidance counselor or email a principal or email a teacher by actually just all you do is you set up the alerting system. And so that's kind of the next step is now, and not only be able to email, but also be able to just give feedback right to the student. So more importantly,
Cody,
right? Yeah, go ahead. Hit me, Chad.
Can I ask a leading question a little bit here? Because I know some stuff but I'm with Mitch. I'm not sure. So you talk about the internet in general, and people think of websites, right? So what sorts of content can this monitor?
So
just
the big
websites,
one is,
or is it?
No, so it's actually anything on the page. So oftentimes it can be a chat. And so I know, Mitch, you got to play with it a little bit, so I'll let you kind of tell your experience and what you saw.
All right. So I've been fortunate enough through our GoGuardian friends to have early access to this filtering set, and
And some of us are jealous.
and in the past, you get flooded with all kinds of like crap, right? You get YouTube got flagged because somebody put something dumb in a comment, right? Or whatever. I mean, you see a lot of those during the day. But the new product and the new filtering engine is insane, to say the least. We have caught multiple instances right away as soon as we enabled this of sexting in Google Hangouts. It's caught pictures in Google Hangouts. It's caught pictures that were put into a Google Doc. It's unbelievable how accurate it is. The cool part about it is you set up triggered alerts. So if the product finds this pattern, and it's very, very, very good at finding the pattern related to pornography and self-harm right now, but that's being expanded, and I'm sure Cody will talk about that. But what will happen is you go in as the admin and say, all right, I want this level of confidence on this filter set. Do I want a high confidence that, yeah, I mean, this thing thinks this is for sure porn, right? Maybe a medium or a low. There's 3 levels. I don't remember exactly what you call them, but there's 3 levels. I set it at the lowest, right? And it is accurate. Every one I've hit has not been a false positive, even at the lowest setting. So unbelievable. It's just crazy how well the screen scraping works in the product. It's catching things that the old filter didn't even flag. So the old filter is flagging things like crazy, right? All this stuff. This legitimate stuff was never even flagged with all that other stuff. So, and it's only flagging legit stuff. To see them side by side, it's a whole different picture, right? Because you're getting some stuff over here, but it really isn't interesting. All the interesting stuff is in the new product, but it doesn't have all the extra crap. So super amazing job, and it's only going to evolve from here, right? With more filter sets and more customization. One of the awesome features about it is that not only can you send yourself an email or whoever, a group, or whoever you want to assign the incident to. Like I can assign it to multiple people if I want to, like a group of counselors or whoever. But not only with that feature, it can also pop a pop-up on the student's screen and say whatever you want it to. Like, hey, idiot, get off of that site, or whatever you want to put on there, right? Cody's got their team has a, yeah, you could put anything you want. Like Chad, I'm sure would have an interesting one.
Yeah, so this isn't beta right now. So the fun thing is it's really just one guy at GoGuardian who's watching everybody. Worst job in the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy what it catches.
Actually, the cool part is everybody. So I'm going to say this, and I might get inundated with emails tomorrow. But Mitch was one of the first people to have access, and now we're just at the point where we're comfortable starting to push it out to more people. We still have a little bit of the onboarding. Lance, send me an email, and I can get you on. Yeah, we can have you on before the end of the week.
Hey,
Chad,
is this thing on?
You're not, Chad. You're not even on a full-blown version. You're paying for it. No way.
They're making me wait for timed filtering.
You're gonna get it, man.
Yeah.
It's there. It's actually it's super awesome looking. Your time filtering set from what you guys released in your promo video. That's gonna be really cool. I don't have access to that, so you guys don't have to like be jealous about that. I tried, and they're like, no.
Not yet. Soon. Yeah. So it's just like one of the couple things, right? But like the ability, the more we thought about it, the more requests we had from you guys, the more we realized like the product we built was for what the internet and Chromebooks, the world existed 3 to 5 years ago. When you're looking forward and you're seeing, students taking their devices home, and this becomes kind of like their personal learning tool. Like it has to give the ability for them to really explore and learn on their own with that ability to also to give that feedback, right? So in school, you would have one set of settings. Out of school, you'd have another set of settings. And that's just one of the improvements to the policy. The other one was, of course, there's always that, 1 or 2 students who keep getting in trouble. And what you're trying to do is you're really trying to guide their behavior. So like with the smart alerts that Mitch was talking about, right? It's the ability to give that feedback and help them improve over time. I think the numbers were, making the improvements from flagged activity to smart alerts was a 100x decrease, right, in the number of emails that you would have received. But then once you're able to give the feedback to the students, it was like a 5 to 10 times decrease again, like 90% decrease in the actual events that were happening, because you're actually giving that feedback live, right, as opposed to they hit a website, it's blocked, and they just try to get to the next one. So it was, again, a 10x decrease in what they were even like trying to get around your filters. And the cool part is, because it's actually the content, even if they find, there's a new proxy site that goes up every day, we actually now have machine learning algorithms that are trying to categorize the websites each time a student hits a website, but it's not always perfect. But now if they find a proxy and they're browsing through the proxy, the content's still being caught. Yeah. So the world where you're trying to like block URLs is kind of being, deprecated, for lack of a better way to say it. We're trying to move past the world where URLs are the thing and the flagged, word on the page.
You just said the key. It's antiquated. I mean, that way of filtering needs to go away. You need to scrub the page like you guys are doing, because there's so many ways around URL filters. I mean, why even have them anymore? You have to look at what's being in the browser. Your stuff sounds like it does a very good job, although I haven't seen it yet.
But Chad, I think maybe we might be able to get you. Maybe I'll just send you screenshots. I'll just kind of like drop it out there.
Sure. Just keep it going. That's perfect.
Animated GIFs. It'll be all right.
GIFs of it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then that was just the first step. So once we did one thing, it was kind of like, we knew that it was kind of the same thing. You guys had so many requests that we wanted to get to, and we kept trying to like put them into the old product, and it kept breaking. And they kept being like, well, wait, how do you have to have a 5-step process to get to the thing you want to get to, as opposed to now we're kind of trying to shift it all, right? Start from a clean slate where, like you said, just like URL filtering, is kind of the antiquated way of doing something. Getting the information you need is antiquated, right? So Google's new APIs for finding a device. Now you can go right in the in the GoGuardian admin and say, this device is missing, right? You can search by serial number or asset ID or even what student it was assigned to. It'll move it to the correct OU for you. And it'll just send you an email when it comes online. And then you click on the report and it has all that information. So the last student that had it, the serial number, the asset ID, right? Now it's kind of,
Cody,
kind of
like
trying to start over.
all like current GoGuardian customers are like flipping out right now, because the magnitude of what you just said, right? Like you just said it like all nonchalant, but that's a big freaking deal, man. Compared to what the old product is. You know, it was so frustrating to do a stolen device and you didn't know which freaking device it was because it didn't have a serial number associated with it. You're like, all right, I've got 100 devices that are missing, right? But which one am I looking at? Which one's popping up here, right?
Exactly.
So it's amazing. And thankfully, Google gave us access to those APIs and you access to build that in. So that's a huge feature. And I'm sure there's a ton of people out there that are pumped. And, you know, as people start to do shootouts, you know, with your product versus others, that's a big one.
Yeah, it was, but to be honest, it was a lot of thanks to you guys, right? Like we have a great community. You guys have a great community, right? Of really vocal people who really care a lot, and you guys communicate with this is what I want, and then it's trying to be able to turn those back and make your guys' lives easier, right? The chat's not on anymore, but time filtering is a great example. Individual students is a great example. It's kind of really trying to provide those things back to you guys, because you have 1 million and one things that you have to get through in a day, and so the faster you can make the things you need to do, the easier.
Amen.
Yeah. And as far as vocal goes, with Chad being, I don't know if his connectivity, he's one of the more vocal. So there's no doubt about that. But yeah, I agree with Mitch completely. You know, right now we have 7 viewers. I do want to remind people that are watching right now, you can ask questions in the chat area. But people that are watching this or listening to this in the future, how do they reach out to you, Cody?
So my email actually is a great starting point, cody@goguardian.com. Super easy. And like I said, anybody who's listening or anybody who downloads it, if you send me an email, we'll be able to get you on ASAP. We're just kind of finalizing some of our onboarding so we can make it a little bit less confusing. Mitch, we can just let Mitch go and he'll figure it out. But definitely some of the stuff is
your
your
onboarding was a little new when I got to the process, so we were learning together.
Yep.
But so and Alex had reached out to me and asked if I was interested in the beta part of this, and I was like, yeah, I'm on this too. And then Mitch had started talking about being in there, and the nice thing about your program is, honestly, you know, when I set up my flags, set up my filters, I'm not in the admin council of GoGuardian much once the year gets going. Unless something big happens, it's contacting me. It's set it and forget it. And so I go in and we're talking about it. I go in there, and in the meantime, the enhanced view had come out. And so I go into an enhanced view. I'm like, I got it. I got the new stuff. And Mitch starts talking about it. And I'm like, I don't have any of this stuff. What the? So you son of a...
Man, it's unreal.
Really happy and then
guys. It really is. Like it is like a massive improvement. It's a complete rewrite, and you guys are doing good things, and you know, it's super cool to see. Like I worked with GoGuardian a little bit in my previous life before this one, and partnering through another company, through Amplified IT, working through GoGuardian back then, and you know, we were looking at it like, holy cow, who are these young punks that are coming in here trying to shake up this industry? And just kind of chuckled and laughed it off a little bit almost, you know, and like, what is going on with this? And it's really cool to see how that company has it's grown, I know, beyond your company's expectations and capacities, right? So to catch up and to do the things that you're doing now, it's fantastic to see. I'm glad that our school district is a part of that. We love what you guys do. It helps our kids out a ton. It allows us to be a lot more open, and the new product will take that even to the next level, right? I'm very much, and all of us in this podcast are on the side of, leaving things more open, not putting barriers in the way of teachers, and letting that instructional time, be. Let those things happen. Let creativity be. And your new stuff will only allow us to open stuff up even more, because it is legit. And when you said that there's just someone along with your kid there to just make sure they don't, step off the wrong path, and you can just put a note up to them and say, hey, what you're doing isn't good. Here, correct yourself. That little note makes all the world a difference.
And that's kind of the process, right? The whole goal of technology is to kind of augment human beings, right? And the computers that we have are kind of this extension of letter writing, right? Or being able to communicate face to face. It's an augmentation. And so really when we start to look at technology in education, right, we want to empower that augmentation again, right? And so starting by making it safe to give a device to a student, and then giving the teacher the ability to kind of push information to a student. And then really the power of the internet, as you guys know, is kind of this type of stuff, right? The ability to be creative and learn and empower you to really do what you want to do. But it requires kind of that confidence that when you hand a Chromebook to a student, it's safe, right? It allows them to explore without having to like constantly look over their shoulder at what they're doing. And so that's kind of the world that we want to help create.
Yeah. And, if to any listeners, any viewers out there right now, if you're ever at a conference and GoGuardian has a booth, and I know a lot of us admins tend to go to specific vendors and kind of stay away from others, talk to these guys. I mean, seriously, they're approachable, they're personable, but they listen. And that has been the number one thing I've loved about GoGuardian from the beginning was, every suggestion, not every suggestion, but a lot of suggestions that I've made, and I'm sure others did also, they were taken to heart and put into consideration, and a lot of them added to the product. So yeah, you guys do a great job. I appreciate being a customer, and a customer who's listened to. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Yeah, it's your feedback and questions and comments and requests that got the young punks, right, to be able to
Right.
to actually give you guys what you needed.
I think it's awesome.
That's right. Now get off my lawn.
Right. I think Cody just called me old. I think that's what just happened. He's gonna send me screenshots of what his product can do.
Animated GIFs.
Really not
Animated
nice
GIFs.
to me
One
today.
one step up from a screenshot.
Okay. A series of screenshots smashed
Yeah,
into
you
a
have
GIF.
to
Just get a GIF. You get an animated GIF.
be all choppy.
I think that's actually how we communicate at GoGuardian in our Slack channels. It's all just GIFs. We don't. The words are
There's no words.
antiquated, right?
Yeah, right. Very nice.
Another thing I wanted to add too about GoGuardian, a little different than a lot of the other vendors that I deal with as a technology director. How often do you have a vendor contact you and they're like, hey, let's do this meeting and with such and such person at our company, and hash out ideas not only about our product but about where everybody thinks the future of education lies. What can we do to help transition education into that transformational shift that we're all looking to achieve. And we have those conversations with GoGuardian. It's a company that gets it, right, that isn't doing this just to block a bunch of porn, right? That's not at all the end goal and the end game for them. And I really appreciate that a lot. We've looked at other filtering products, and if someone starts to pitch it the other way, I would shut them down right away. And in fact, I still have one of the companies that emails me and they're like, why are you not talking to us anymore? And I just filter it into the trash. So I really appreciate that about GoGuardian.
Yeah, and
I'd echo that sentiment. We started talking to GoGuardian but right now, if they had time filter sets, and that's coming because they listened to me. I said I can't use you guys until I can have 2 different filter sets or more. Actually, I need like 6, but now and I understand it and I understand why, to get that into production. So but what was nice, and my point here is that they continue to talk to me, even though I wasn't a current customer, because they feedback and took it to heart and are making the part that I needed. Not when I do come on board, So they were listening, and that's not something you. So truly appreciated from our end as well.
Awesome.
And we're sitting here and 39, 40 minutes into the show, and it's not a huge GoGuardian infomercial. It is truly, and I just want to stress this, that it's something as a product that as admins, and you're talking to, the 4 of us here today, today when normally there's 5, that this is what we eat and breathe. And so if we're sitting here talking about a product and willing to endorse it and give it this much time, trust us, folks, it's probably something worth at least looking into. And they do a lot of good stuff. That's my personal thing. And I'm not, I know people are going to listen to this podcast and be like, oh, it's just, no, it's what we believe. So
if we wanted to advertise on this podcast and make money, we could advertise on this podcast and monetize it and make money. We don't do that. We did get, GoGuardian obviously sponsored us.
I can't even get a free.
They helped us with some microphones and stuff, right? Which is super awesome, and thank you guys, and that helped us out a ton. We're not out to just take a bunch of crap from a bunch of people. We only partner with people we believe in, and GoGuardian is something that we all definitely believe in.
Thanks,
Maybe
guys.
GoGuardian could pay for some solid internet on my
There's Chad coming up. So they also introduced, I got an email this morning to the GoGuardian MVP. I don't know. It's like that's my hand gestures. I talk with my hands, Mitch. Sorry.
People all listening on the podcast can't see that.
That's true. It's probably a good thing because I've got a face for radio. I say that a lot. But it's a new interactive part. It's not
this
part
big.
Of the suite.
And
It's anyway. So there's tasks and activities, and you gain points, and you can get stuff. And all I'm really trying to do is get 750 points. It's
Alex
a club. I'm trying to get
says it's a club.
750 points to get my new socks. That's
MVP club.
Do you know how happy Alex is going to be to hear that? She's you guys have talked to Alex, right? She's an amazing part of GoGuardian, and she's the one leading it. So she's going to be in heaven when she hears that you're shooting for your socks.
I'm at 650. I need 100 more points, and I was just going through. It took me down a rabbit hole this morning.
Do you get 100 bonus for this?
Just want my socks.
I think
I'm signing up right now.
I think you have to be a current. I have to wait another 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, you miss out on the 10,000 bonus points for doing a podcast with Cody.
Yep, I think
That would put me atop the leaderboard. I'm in like
Par for
7th
the
place
course.
right now.
par for the course.
Yeah,
Par for the course.
Chad, we
Too bad,
got them.
Carl.
They're coming. They're literally in development right now. They're building the page.
Keeps me well informed because I bugger.
Perfect.
And the new product looks a lot prettier, by the way.
And it loads faster. The big one was you guys kind of gave us the hug of death for a while there. It was
The hug of death.
it was our system.
It's just
Right?
less intrusive. It's the hug of death.
So over the past 2 years, right, our system scaled so fast. We were struggling to keep up, definitely. So we spent a ton of time re-architecting the back end, so we could handle how many admins were using our product. And now, it was time for the front end. So, and as we started looking into the front end, it was one thing after another. It was we were showing the way that Google used to store the data was by session, not by student. So it was like, let's combine it all into one student view, right? It was the ability to export, not just, the favorite one was we always got a request for, we can only export 1,000 rows at a time, right? And now it's pull it all together any custom 30-day range you want and just send it as an email, whether that's like a PDF overview or whether that's like the CSV report. So it was really trying to get back to you guys. Like, we knew that the product wasn't where we wanted it to be, and we kept trying to put in more features, and it was just like, okay, we're just going to start from scratch, and we're going to build it with your workflows in mind first.
Excellent. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we let you go, Cody?
Well, let me see. I might. I can't present my screen. Oh, can I present my screen? I might have to give Chad.
That's my screenshot. Thanks.
Chad's gonna get his screenshot.
I appreciate it.
If Cody remembers how to use Google Hangouts.
There we go. Can you see it?
Green button. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The presenter has to click on it.
Yeah, well, I can see it.
All right. So this is the big one. This is Smart Alerts. If you can see it. So what this shows is your reports. So you can it comes with a screenshot. If I jump into one of these,
mine look a lot naughtier than that.
It might look a lot naughtier than that. We built our demos to not scar the eyes. But what you can see is
how that would turn out.
Yeah.
You got me a little worried there, Cody, right off the bat when you picked pornography as the category today. There goes our PG-13 rating.
And so what you'll see is the first thing you see is you actually don't see it as right away. You actually see the context, right? So a lot of times you guys were being the detectives. You were having to figure out what was going on and what to do next. And so what you'll see is you'll kind of see how they ended up on this place, right? The actual flagged information itself. I can print it. I can also assign it. So I can actually assign it to another admin or a guidance counselor, a teacher, and then you will actually be able to comment back and forth, and you'll see related alerts.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait! You don't know how much time my assistant spends at the middle school going through Vault and retrieving Hangout. It's just, this is going to be so.
Yeah, this catches it.
A real hug instead of a hug of death. I'm not sure how that'll work, but ticket.
And then these are your triggers. So this is your ability to say, once something comes in with a severity, that severity is determined by kind of how strongly the content on the page matches the examples. I can then assign it to people, or this is what Mitch was excited about. You can actually message it directly in the app. So it directly messages the student and tells them, this is inappropriate. Can you get back on task, or don't do this on your school computer?
Yeah. Hi, Mitch.
And because
Infinite Mitch.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my.
One Mitch is enough, please, Cody.
Man.
There you go. So those are your screenshots.
I'm gonna get a lot of work done if there's that many of me.
Thanks, Cody. I appreciate it. That is pretty.
So that is built off of it looked like it was off of the enhanced view. It's just you added the wonderful new features in with that new view.
Are you gonna keep calling it Xander? Because I think you absolutely should.
I think the PR people told us naming it after a person was how we encouraged the Terminator. So we decided to make sure our
should I not even said that?
Yeah, so a lot of our artificial intelligence stuff is I think going to be related to actually what the value it provides, not the naming convention.
Yeah, well, yeah, marketing people.
Yeah, they marketing and legal, man. They rule
everything.
Tell us what to do.
They ruin everything.
It's
you
just
have some of the coolest
how accurate. Oh, that's my cat.
And the show stalls. For those of you listening, Mitch's cat.
Now we're gonna get all the hits for crazy cat videos.
Oh,
there goes our popularity on YouTube.
Oh well.
So, well, Cody, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
Thank you for the screenshot.
Getting to take part.
Definitely, and like I said, I think if the theft recovery is available, I think starting next week or the week after. The policies, which of course are top of the list for Chad, are in about a little less than 2 weeks at this point. Smart Alerts is available. We're finalizing the onboarding. Anybody who feels like they don't need any hand holding, we can start putting on pretty quickly. And Enhanced View is available to just about anybody who asks at this point, as long as they aren't bad mouthing us on Twitter or spying for another company. So yeah, we're giving it all, and so I think the official launch should be here in June. So we're really excited about it.
And I think rightfully so.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I can't wait. I can't wait to switch. I've been waiting far too long, and I finally have the one piece, and I'm super psyched.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
for
Cody.
coming
Really
on, Cody.
appreciate you being here. All righty. And you can continue to hang out and kind of just join in if you want, because truthfully, we're boring without you. So
Do we have more?
Well, I do want to put a teaser out because I think there is something coming up in July that I hate being the guy that teases, but I think we need to, because we have to get word out a little bit. There may be an opportunity for Google Apps for Education or Google's G Suite Educated, GSFE, whatever you want to say, admins. Something that I've wanted to do for a long time.
A nerd conference.
A nerd conference. 2-day conference of admins. It'll be Google based. So Google G Suite for Education admins. Nothing is in stone, but boy, it's starting to get chiseled pretty fast, and it's going to be interesting. So it'll be fun. There will be a limited number of people I think that we can have in.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be very, very good.
But it's I think going to be a really nice thing. And if it takes off, it could be an annual thing. But yeah, some good partnerships coming in about it, and
hopefully we'll have more information on that soon.
Soon, and yeah, not even before the next podcast, it'll be done. Right now, it's just all about contracts. We're working on contracts and getting stuff, basically inked out. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, I want to go hang out with a bunch of geeks. It'll be really cool.
Nerd fest.
Bunch of nerds. Talking about nerd stuff.
Nerdy fun.
But other than that, anybody anything for the road? One for the ditch for everybody out there in viewership land.
Phil's got to go finish digging his grave. So
yeah, I have a backhoe, so I'm good. I don't have to do it by hand.
Ooh, fun.
Well, Phil,
I don't think you can dig a well with the backhoe.
Take a while.
It'd be a very big hole.
Tip on the notes, and we all.
It's all right. That could wait till next. No, I'm not gonna follow this up. I'm not gonna. We'll wait till next week, month.
You're no good.
We're
he
getting.
no longer has a tip.
I'm gonna do a little self promotion. Since Cody got to share his new view, I'm not gonna share the view, but FlexiScan V8 beta's dropped to select districts.
Woo! FlexiScan
Has been busy.
So you
Cody,
version 8.
Interface.
I'm assuming it's not V8, the fruit juice or the vegetable juice.
Version 8.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
For beta 1. Beta 1 to a couple districts.
Alex wants to know why Phil has a
I've been a busy boy.
Why not?
Well, that's a good question.
You're not a real man until you have.
Oh, we did just have a question come up about the conference. Peter Lee asks, "Is this going to be Iowa based?" Okay, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be Midwest based, not Iowa based. It's again, I wish I could tell you more than that.
Midwest,
but definitely Midwest.
Teasers.
Central USA based, so it'll be in a central location, easy to get to with an airplane or a car.
Central part of the country.
Yeah.
So is this something that you're thinking about over the summer or next summer?
This summer.
This summer.
July.
And I can give you the dates. Yeah, it'll be July 19th and 20th.
So mark your calendars. You just don't know where you're going. You just know you're going.
Central USA. That's where you're going.
Yeah, just make the Google event just Central USA and see what
We're
happens.
working with some pretty awesome partnerships, and it's going to be a pretty worthwhile deal. So
Huge.
It'll be worthwhile to fly into, no matter where it's at. So it'll be that big, and I think it'll fill pretty quickly. So once we do announce it, just keep your eyes peeled. We'll try to push it out as many channels as we can. We don't like to advertise on the community, but this one might be worthwhile to at least push a notice out. So,
worst comes to worst, if you want to reach out and you're listening to this, you're watching this. Peter's from New York City. New York City.
Hey, we'll host one in New York, I guess.
But if you want information about it, you go to just send something to the GSFE admin. So, what would be the easiest email to send to? Well, it's Cody at GoGuardian.
I think probably the info, our info at Simple EdTech.
Okay. So info at simpleedtech.com, and we'll get you information. So simple, simpleedtech.com, and we'll get you information on that. So maybe we'll see you, Peter. But yeah, it's not in New York.
Hopefully.
Yet.
That'd be awesome.
All righty.
Maybe Cody will show up. Cody, you like the Central U.S.?
I ran away from Indiana, actually. That's how I ended up in LA.
Oh, man.
Oh, you are in LA.
That was not an upgrade. Come on. LA?
I don't know. I'm on the fence.
Actually, LA's pretty awesome. So
we're spoiled. We're weather spoiled by far. Yeah. There was somebody the other day, it was like 5-mile-an-hour wind, and they're like, "Oh, it's windy." I'm like, "You've never lived anywhere else, have you?"
That's funny. I should have been at my house last night.
Or like, "Oh, it's
90+ mile-an-hour
raining
winds
today." The one day out of the entire year it's raining, and it's like this mist rain. It's like that's not real rain.
It's not lake weather rain.
Right. Exactly. But the good thing, Cody, is if you do come to our conference, whenever we do get this thing launched, you only have to stay for a few days and you can go back to LA.
Or you may like it so much you stay forever.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The location's pretty amazing.
All right, guys, I'm going to take off.
Don't blame you. All right. Well, thank you all very much. I hope you got some information out of this show. Again,
and Peter from New York, we would welcome you in the Central U.S.
Yes. The Central. We will give exact location later.
Yes.
All right. So, till next time. This point, we don't know if we'll do a June podcast or not. It'll depend on how things are going.
This one might have tanked us anyways, so maybe we won't have them.
All our sponsors will drop out. All right. Well, everybody have a great one and finish out the school year strong. If you're out there, don't drop the ball now. I know it's going to end quick, and then the real work starts in the summer. So,
you bet.
Great talking to y'all. Have a good night.
Cheers, everybody.
Good night, guys.